If you clicked on this video, you're probably tired of the vicious cycle of relapse and regret that comes with gaming addiction. But what if I told you that there is a way out? What if I told you that there is a set of mindsets I adapted and a set of actions that I took that allowed me to be clean from video games for up to 2 years now? What if I told you that there is a method that you could use to put yourself in charge of your gaming impulses instead of letting your own addiction rule you? That's why this video is about how to quit video games as a noob, as an absolute beginner. Even if you have nobody to help you, even if it feels like nobody understands your problem, then I'm sure this video is going to reach out and help you. The first and most important piece of advice that I can offer is that you have to master yourself before you seek to master outside circumstances that lead you to gaming. This is the first thing that I had to do when I was tackling my video game addiction. And this necessitates that a certain amount of inner work needs to be done. You have to train your own willpower. Now, what is willpower? Well, willpower is the ability to say no to things, even if you really want them. It's the ability to say no to that extra slice of cake, to that gaming session, to this late night, to that piece of junk food, to all these different temptations that are going to drag you down and leave you behind. Now, how do you train willpower as it relates to gaming? Well, I'm going to reveal that later, but if you think you need extra help with willpower training and the actions behind that, then I think my course is for you. The link to that is in the description below. It's basically 2.5 hours of content curated by me about how I quit video games step by step. Go ahead and check it out if you're interested. But moving on to the next point, I basically needed the right motivation as it related to quitting gaming. I had to get my journal out, get a piece of paper out, and write down, well, why do I want to quit gaming in the first place? What's the point of this? Is this not just like a spur of the moment decision? Am I being impulsive? I had to ask myself that, as well as, well, what is my life going to look like in a week from now, a month from now, half a year from now, a year from now, if I do quit video games? Where could I go? Who could I become? What could I do? That kind of stuff. Like, what is my dream, my ideal life if I quit video games in the near future? That's like 1 week in the future to about a year in the future, right? What is my life going to look like in that interim? I wanted to become an athlete. I wanted to get strong. I wanted to get smarter. I wanted to get better at debating people. I wanted to get better at social skills. I wanted to get better at making money. I wanted to learn how to invest and all that kind of different stuff. So that was my motivation for quitting gaming. And I knew that I couldn't become that kind of ideal person if I didn't quit video games right now and start working towards those real life goals that I had. Because whenever I played video games, I did feel like a loser. I felt like I was going to become that like 30-year-old virgin who's still playing video games in his parents' basement, and then his parents die at one point and he's just left by himself, and he's just a scared little boy in a man's body. That was my ultimate fear, of being a burden to my parents, of being a burden to the people around me, because I couldn't get a cap on my gaming addiction, because I couldn't control myself. So my negative self-image would lead to my ruin, basically. And that's just a fancy way of saying I was very scared of being a loser and being a burden to other people. And that honestly just scared the shit out of me. So what I did after that was I asked myself, where would I be if I didn't quit video games? And I wrote that kind of stuff down. I would be socially awkward. I would be broke because I kept spending money on video games, in DLC and microtransactions, in-game purchases, that kind of stuff. That's where I would be. I would probably have less friends. I would have less social mobility. I would have less skills that would be valuable in the job place. I would be less fit. I would probably die earlier. I would probably need glasses earlier on. My hair would probably start falling out earlier. All of these different things would probably come from sitting in my dark room playing video games, right? Getting all that blue light in my face. My dopamine would probably be like permanently screwed up if I kept playing video games to a certain age, and I would be an absolute loser. So those were kind of the two push and pull forces behind me quitting gaming. It's like, what am I going to look like if I stay here? What's the bad result? And what could I do if I moved on from here? If I started taking responsibility for myself? That's the pull. This is where I want to go, right? And that's extremely motivating if you do it right. So that's an actionable step for this video. Go ahead and try and list out where you could go, where you could be, who you could become, and how far you could sink, how low you could go if you just kept gaming and you didn't give a second thought about quitting. So the next step was to cut off my connection with the gaming world. And this is where willpower comes into play. Because you have to have a certain amount of inner fortitude to complete this next step. So cutting off your connection with the gaming world basically includes getting rid of anything that reminds you of your past life as a gamer. You kind of have to burn. I kind of had to burn this old life that I had, this old identity that I had of myself as me, the gamer, as me, the socially awkward Smash Bros player who shared memes with his friends in the back of class and couldn't talk to girls and was unpopular with the guys and was broke because he kept spending money on games and had no social mobility and had no skills and yeah, all that different stuff. All these negative connotations were attached to me playing video games. So whenever I went back to playing video games, I remember this in the early days. I was like, wow, I'm being a failure. This is like me doing heroin. This is like me doing hard drugs on the street right now. That's the same place I could end up if I keep playing video games and I keep ignoring the responsibility that I'm taking for myself. And once you become this self-aware, once you become this aware of the amount of responsibility that you have for yourself as an individual, once you become aware of how much of your success in life and your well-being in life is up to you, that is a terrifying thing. And you should be terrified of staying in the same place, of not improving, of not going anywhere, of not doing anything with yourself, of not getting any new experiences, of not meeting new people, of not refining yourself as a human being. That should be terrifying. Not changing, not growing. That should terrify you. And I think every intelligent person to a point is scared of that, and they want to avoid that. That's just kind of the dark side of trying to quit gaming. That's the negative emotion associated with it. And it's probably necessary for you if you really do want to get a chokehold on your gaming addiction. Is you have to realize just how serious this is. You have to realize that this is you at stake. This is you that we're talking about. This is your future. So go ahead and maybe pause the video and think about that just for a second. So because of where we could go if we quit compared to where we could go if we didn't quit, this next step might be a little bit hard. And it's basically about ridding yourself of your past identity, right? So you're going to want to get rid of your consoles, get rid of your PC games, put them in storage, delete them, sell them on eBay, just throw them in the dumpster, whatever. Just get them out of your sight, get them out of your head, get them out of your life. Same with friends and everything else that causes you to think of yourself as a gamer. Now this is a very hard step. If you're anything like me, you're a gamer, but you're also a gamer with some kind of friend. You're not completely alone. You have some friends that maybe you play online with, or you talk about with games in person, or you go over to their house and play some games, stuff like that. And while these people may be nice, maybe they're not nice to you, maybe they bully you, and that's even more reason to cut them off. But regardless of how nice they are, you're going to need to cut these people off if they're not helping you quit your gaming addiction. Now, you might be recoiling in horror at that statement. You might not like this. You may want to click off and go watch another video that's going to tell you that you can stay where you are and you're just perfect as you are. But I'm not going to let that happen. This is what I had to do, and this is what you have to do if you want to get to where I am right now. 2 years clean from video games. It helps, okay? It really helps. It's probably the best progress I've made in my life is in the 2 past years. And I want to get you the same result, so you're going to have to follow this with me. You're going to have to go onto Discord or Messenger or WhatsApp or whatever messaging service you use to contact your gamer friends. And you're going to want to send them not like a super long paragraph message, but maybe just like a couple lines saying, hey, I'm grateful for the time that we had together. I'm grateful for the experiences that we could share. I'm grateful for the friends that I could have during this period of my life. I think this season of my life that is gaming is drawing to a close. So thanks for understanding and goodbye. Something like that. That's what you want to go ahead and tell your gamer friends. Now, they may resent you for that. They may corner you at school or on the street and ask you why you're doing it. They might be angry. There's a good chance that they'll be angry, because people like that, they don't like to see people who were once at their level try and get ahead of them. They don't like to see people who are at the bottom of this crab bucket with them try and climb up over the edge. They're going to try and drag you down, right? They might bully you. They might talk smack about you behind your back. They might do all of these different things, but you've already cut these people off, and these people already aren't part of your life, so screw them. Like, what can they actually do, right? They're not going to instigate a physical fight with you. They're not going to, well, they might spread rumors about you on social media, but after a week, they're going to move on. These people don't have a very high attention span because they're still playing video games, and because they still don't see a need to change. Or maybe they do because they're so jealous of you. But regardless, you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing, and you just have to move on. And that's part of maturing. That's part of growing up. That's part of life, is to leave people behind if life necessitates it. So I know it hurts to cut people off, but this is your life, like I said, and it's too short to spend giving in to other people and just being submissive to someone else's will for you. I like this quote from 50 Cent where he says, "I was born alone and I will die alone. I've got to do what's right for me and not what's right for anyone else. I got to live my life the way that I want it and that no one else wants it, because I'm by myself in this world." It's something like that, right? Because you're your own person, because whoever created you has made you your own individual, and you don't have like a Siamese twin attached to you. You're not responsible for anyone, really, but yourself. That means that you can still be kind, you can still be charitable, you can still be gracious with your time and your money, but you are your own person at the end of the day, and how you live your life is up to you, and life is just too short to spend following someone else's agenda. And if it's time to quit gaming, then it's time to quit gaming, and it's time to move ahead. That means me as well. You don't necessarily have to listen to me. I'm just here giving my advice to you, trying to allow people online to not make the same mistakes that I did. So, is it okay to go back to gaming after you successfully conquered your video game addiction? Well, this is kind of the cheat day mindset, right? That, well, okay, I'm not eating cake, I'm not eating sugar every single day of the week now. I'm trying to clean up my diet, right? So I'm eating clean 6 out of the 7 days of the week, or 5 out of the 7 days of the week. Every single weekday, I'm not playing video games. They're not in my head. I'm not thinking about them. But what about on the weekends? You know, my day slows down. I don't have as much stuff to do. Yeah, I'm not busy. So why don't I go back to video games? What's the harm? Well, my response to that would be, how much do video games suck you in? I know that you can tell yourself, oh, I'm just going to play video games for this one Saturday or this one Sunday. And then once the school week rolls around, once the work week starts up again, I'm just going to leave my laptop in storage. I'm going to put my console away. I'm going to lock in again. Well, there's kind of this like delayed onset of video games, where if you start playing them this one day, like Saturday, for example, and you also play them on Sunday as well, or even if you don't play them, you're still going to be thinking about them. The images from the gaming are still going to be like occupying your mind. You're still going to be visualizing these matches you had. You're still going to be strategizing about all these different moves and whatnot. You're still going to be thinking and thinking and thinking about this thing. You're going to be obsessing over it in your mind. And that's going to be more stimulating than doing any other activity that you might have found to replace gaming. So that goes on for at least like a couple of days. It's this kind of like delayed onset of video games, like I said, right? Where you can't really get it out of your head until like days and days after you actually stop gaming. It's kind of like this withdrawal process, which is going to be very taxing on you throughout the rest of the week, right? And then the more you think about gaming, the more you glorify it in your own head, the more you're gonna want to go back, the more you're gonna want to get your fix, the more you're gonna want to make progress in this and that game. And video games are just going to kind of feed off of your mental capacity. They're just going to kind of feed off of you for the rest of the week, whether you're playing them or not. It's like an invisible vampire. It just sucks out your brain energy and your presence and your ability to be there for yourself and other people throughout your daily tasks, right? Like maybe you're sat at your desk at school and it's Monday and you play video games on Sunday, but you told yourself you'd stop on Sunday and not play for the rest of the week. Well, I've had this before where I'm just sat at my desk and I'm thinking about video games. I've had that hundreds of times probably when I was trying to quit. I was just thinking about, okay, I'm not going to play video games anymore, but I'm just sitting here thinking about what game I'm going to play when I get home. I'm thinking about these things that I collected. I'm thinking about that strategy that I did. Oh, this really sick clip that I got yesterday in this fighting game. I'd be thinking about all that kind of stuff while I was just sitting in my desk trying to convince myself I wasn't a gamer. But the thing is, Aristotle said that we are what we repeatedly do. If we repeatedly play video games on the weekend, then we are a weekend gamer. If we repeatedly do that, then we are a weekend gamer. If I only play video games over Christmas holidays, then I'm a Christmas holidays gamer, right? If I only eat junk food on holidays, then I'm a holiday junk food addict. If I only drink alcohol on the weekends, then I'm a weekend alcoholic. If I get hammered every single time I go out on the weekends. You see how this works? What you repeatedly do, what you repeatedly think about, what you're repeatedly drawn to becomes your identity, whether you like it or not. It becomes part of you, whether you like it or not. So the best way to not be a gamer is to just stop playing video games. It's that easy. And again, this necessitates willpower. But what helps willpower, funnily enough, is just having prolonged periods where you're not playing video games, where you're just completely clean. This is like month upon month upon month of just being clean from video games. That is the best way. And maybe if you live more of an extreme lifestyle where you get like a whole bunch of work in and then you take like 2 weeks where you're just like totally degenerate, I wouldn't recommend that. I don't do that because I'm still like a young guy. I'm still a teenager. I'm still pretty stupid. My brain's still developing, so I think that kind of extreme lifestyle definitely is not for me, at least at this point. But if you're older, you know, I'm not your parent. You can go ahead and do whatever you want. But yeah, that is my advice as it comes to cheat days and going back to gaming. It's better if you don't do it overall, and you have to really, really trust yourself. If you are going to go back, you have to really trust yourself. It's when you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm not going to go back. I'm just going to play for a couple days. I'm going to have some fun, and then I'm going to forget about it, right? You have to trust yourself. So that is pretty much all the advice that I had for this video. If you're interested in getting more practical advice, more step-by-step analysis of how to actually quit video games, you can check out a video that I'm going to put around the screen, somewhere around here, or you can go ahead and check out my course. Link to it is in the description. I'll see you later. Bye.